Verena? Verena?
Together, let us explore the stars.
T-minus 25 seconds and counting, and Apollo 13 is go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
7, 8, 5,
Something's wrong.
4, 3.
I'm telling you, it's impossible. This isn't happening.
Together, let us explore the stars.
You have activated an emergency airlock.
It's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind.
The bias field is at maximum. At his bias field, 1, 2, 3.
Step up to sea breeze, the freshest flavored air on Mars. No! Stop this! What are you, crazy?
You're the last ones. The others are all gone. It's just us now.
Help! Help! Help!
There's no one left to help. Hey!
Please! No! 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 Ah!
Where are you? Anyone? Anyone? Please? What? Oh. Maybe you think I'm different, but I've got the same problems everyone has. Just because I'm on a starship traveling at the speed of light doesn't mean my feelings can't be hurt. I still get hungry, bored. I lust like any other man.
I'll say.
And when a bell rings, I jump. I don't much like uncertainty, and I have to clip my toenails every so often. I want my life to have a purpose.
You're nattering, dear. This is about us, so go ahead and tell them.
Yes. My imaginary wife and I are much happier these days, thank you. We've come through some tough times, and we're still together, so far. But we still have a way to go. Exactly how long, I'm not sure. When you attempt to exceed 299,792.46 kilometers per second, here and there are only probabilities. Relative to you, I am no place. I do not exist.
Of course you do. I'm the one who's imaginary.
I used to think she was an hallucination, my sweet imaginary wife. Proof that I'd gone mad. Not anymore. If I ask her whether she exists, she just laughs. I like this about her. We often laugh together. She keeps changing, though. I'm never quite sure who she is. Isn't that right, Isabel?
As you wish.
Or is it Jennifer?
All right.
Maya?
Why not?
Oh, Mother.
Poor lost little boy.
You see what I have to put up with? Actually, I'm afraid she aspires to reality. I had a real wife once, but it wasn't the same.
You're an artist. She didn't understand you.
I don't want to paint too rosy a picture. But like any couple, we have our ups and downs. But then again, down and up are relative terms which vary with the inertial frame of the observer. Einstein warned that C is the ultimate speed limit. C, the speed of light propagated in a vacuum, as in E equals mc squared. Anyway, it's the absolute. Exceed it and you pass out of the universe of logic. The chicken comes before the egg, comes after the chicken, and all at once. It's a mess. Meanwhile, time is looping around you like a boa. The math is beyond me. Of course, logic and causality are hardwired into our brains. It makes for some awkward moments.
Not for me. I love it here. With you.
I was a hero when I began this grand voyage of discovery, like Columbus. In his time, the world was flat. People believed that if you sailed too far in any one direction, you would fall off the planet. Now, my imaginary wife...
Go ahead, say it.
Say what?
My name, dear.
My imaginary wife, Judith, here, informs me that we have sailed off the edge of reality. Perhaps that explains our predicament.
Predicament? Opportunity. Nobody has ever had a chance to invent themselves like this.
So, anyway, some scientists came up with a way to trick reality, bend the laws of the universe. They said maybe we could go faster than the speed of light. Maybe. Only about 8 people in the world understood their theory, and even they weren't saying what would happen if someone did exceed C. No, it wouldn't do to speculate about what lay beyond the absolute. Oh, no, not scientific. Of course, there was extensive testing before any humans were put at risk.
Life support nominal. Guidance nominal.
The computer, unburdened by imagination, functioned exactly as expected. The design team accelerated an entire menagerie. Rats and dogs and pigs and chimps, they all came back. The ones that weren't immediately dissected lived long and uneventful lives. So I suppose there's hope for me.
For us, you mean? What he hasn't told you yet is that it wasn't just him. He's embarrassed, but it's not his fault. There were 51 people on this ship. Crew and colonists. His real wife was one of them. Her name was Verena.
I remember once Verena made a joke about it. She said that science ended at sea, and the other side was fiction. And that would make us science fiction, my dear.
I don't want to be science fiction. I want to be a romance. We could call it Dream Song of the Starship, or maybe Star Song of the Dream Ship.
I don't know what happened to the others. All I can say is that when the ship warped, I blacked out. I have my theories. Perhaps there was a malfunction. I could be dead and this is hell. Maybe the others had reasons for stranding me here. Maybe they had no choice. When I woke up, there was no one else but Vera here, and she's imaginary.
Fictitious, but delicious. Unreal, unsubstantial, and untrue.
Untrue?
I'm true to you, but no one else.
I have no idea how to save myself, or indeed if I even need saving. My grasp of the technology that surrounds me is uncertain at best. I sat through hours of classes, but all those equations bounced off me. You see, most of us were specialists. Aside from the crew, there were programmers, biologists, engineers, doctors, geologists, builders. Only the least important jobs went to people with multiple skills. I'm down on the organization charts as nutrition stylist. And I'm also in a box labeled mission artist. Corporations pledged money, school children sold candles, and the arts lobby worked very hard to create a place for me on the roster.
Yes?
Good evening, sir. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I'm canvassing this arcology for people who might be interested in supporting the Artist to the Stars program.
Stars? What stars?
The stars in space, sir. We're trying to get the government to include an artist among the crew of that new starship.
Haven't we got enough problems right here in the solar system without wasting taxpayer money sending playwrights to Alpha Bloody Centauri?
Of course, it didn't hurt my cause to be married to a civil engineer. My specialty has always been dabbling. spent a lot of time in front of my image processor. Too bad I could never afford that Chroma-Lux. It says on my resume that I throw pots. Only I haven't spun a wheel since we launched, and who knows if there'll be clay where I'm going. I used to write for the voice synthesizer, and I can even pluck a few chords on the guitar. The problem is the acoustics here are awful. And when I was 15, my sister and I were finalists in the New Jersey Junior Partners Tap Festival. Who am I going to dance with now?
Me. Hey, remember me?
So now I style food. After I got into the Starship program, they sent me on a world tour of cooking schools. Budapest, Delhi, Paris, more dabbling. You know, I used to hate to cook. Now dinner is all that matters. What's the point of doing art when you have no audience?
You've captured some beautiful video. Your stills were hanging in galleries.
Oh, they were on late at night on back channels. All right, I'm better than some, but not as good as others. A journeyman. That sums up my condition nicely. My condition. Should I describe a typical day?
Dear, nothing about us is typical. Come to bed, then.
But then the notion of today is another fiction.
You mean this isn't today?
For now, let it be. You see, the laws of science do not distinguish between past and future. Here, the arrow of time spins at random, as in a child's game. I'm never sure whether I fall asleep, whether I'm going to wake up tomorrow or yesterday. Fortunately, the days are very similar. For the purposes of sanity, I try to keep them that way.
Whose sanity? Not mine.
Artists make patterns. We impose order even where there is none. Maybe that's why I'm still here and the others are gone. So this is what happens today.
And will happen again tomorrow.
Just as it happened last Monday.
I thought you did away with Mondays, dear. You said we didn't need them anymore.
Today, then. She snuggles next to me as I wake up. Her warm breasts nudge my back. Her breath tickles my neck. I roll over and we kiss. Her hair is the color of newly fired terracotta. When she opens her eyes, they're green. And she has wide shoulders, and I can see unexpected muscle beneath her pale skin. She can appear to be any woman I can imagine. Today she is large, magnificent. There's a kind of music to her voice. When she talks, I hear bells. She's not perfect, though. The skin under her jaw is loose. There's a mole on her temple. Clever touches. Another time she may be petite. She could have big hips, long fingers. I think the reason she keeps changing is that, like so many women, she has a poor body image. She's far too critical of her appearance. But no matter how she looks, she can't help but become herself.
Does that scare you?
No. Should it? We make love. That shouldn't surprise you. Their sex mostly happens between the ears, not between the thighs. And sometimes I lose myself and skip ahead a couple of years to find I'm caressing a different body. But today, she remains the same. It's what we both want. I take pleasure from the way her lips part, bloom on her cheeks. At the end, a moan catches for a moment in her throat, and then she draws breath again. Well,
what are you thinking?
I can't help but love her. That's the biggest problem with our marriage. I love her even though she wants to separate from me.
I do not. Take that back or I'll tickle you.
I'm not ticklish. Stop!
Okay.
She wants to go her own way. I'm hungry. Time for some breakfast. There's French toast and orange juice and coffee, as always. Are you coming?
Yes, dear.
Just once, I'd like to serve her breakfast in bed, but she doesn't eat. The high price of being imaginary. She watches, though. We like to eat in the FX lounge. She chooses Trunk Bay on St. John. Bone-white Caribbean beach. Palms tilting toward water the color of the sky. This is part of our imaginary past. Our honeymoon, I suppose. She keeps the temperature set at 29 degrees Celsius. Invisible fans waft a breeze laden with her own homemade brew of coconut oil, female pheromones, and brine. She's convinced that the way to a man's heart is through his nose. The floor looks like sand, except it doesn't sift between the toes. Where's the pity? And later we might spread the blanket and soak up some UV. Sometimes I wish she'd program the surround to show other people on the beach, but we're alone. Always alone.
Other women kept staring at you. You were so handsome, and everyone knew you'd be famous someday. I didn't like the way you looked back. I wanted you to see me. Only me. Dear? You're starting to burn. Come into the shade.
It's early still.
You want some lotion on your back? Maybe after breakfast we could take the sea kayaks out.
I can't stay in the FX lounge for long.
Wait! You've hardly touched your food.
I want to relax, but I can't. I hear things, even over the ocean soundtrack. The hull creaks under the stress of whatever is outside. If I rest my head on the floor, I can feel the vibration of the ship in my molars.
What's happening to you?
Somewhere on board, a thermostat clicks, and a vent opens. What machine makes a sound like someone running? I have to get up and see. Either the ship or my imagination is haunted. I miss Verena.
I can be her for you. Anyone you want. Where are you going? Wait. At least get dressed first.
I've been working on a theory of my own. Say you're traveling at 299,792.46 kilometers per second, and for some unknown reason, you want to go faster. You would then exceed the speed of light propagated in a vacuum. But what if the universe does not yield up its absolute so easily? You attempt to accelerate beyond the reality's speed limit, c, to say c plus v, where v stands for the smallest, the most infinitesimal increment in velocity you can imagine, say an extra millimeter per nanosecond over the limit. However, mathematicians claim that there is still a little infinity lurking between c and c plus v, no matter what value you assign to v. What if it takes forever to achieve c plus v? To go faster than the speed of light? What if the speed of light is not a limit, but a kind of one-way trap? Once you cross over, you can never come back out. The revenge of reality. Or maybe it's God doing this. This is how he punishes people who break his laws.
Only there is no God on this side. Except you. But that doesn't explain where everyone went.
Well, maybe they realized what was happening. That we were trapped. So they step into the airlock, cycle through, and leap into eternity.
All of them? What about you?
I see them going one by one at first. Later in groups. They ask me. I can't bring myself to make the leap. Because I have you. Obviously. I'm traumatized. I blank it out. And here I am, the last little Indian.
Very dramatic. It fits you. You've always had a bigger ego than you cared to admit. Please don't go in there. It always upsets you.
A typical day, my sweet. It's what I always do. This is the control room of a starship. The bridge between reason and the irrational. Not what you expected. Every surface here is a screen, just like in the FX. Yeah, I can black the entire room out or put on a light show of instrumentation. From here I can access the computer, view just about any corner of the ship, cook pizza for 51, fiddle with the internal gravity, even vacuum flush the toilets. If there was a god in this machine, this couch would be his throne. Once I cranked up the humidity until the air was just about saturated and then dropped the temperature 20 degrees in 2 minutes. My own rainstorm. A one-time miracle, though. Hell of a mess.
You do get a little crazy in here. You know that, don't you?
Unfortunately, while I can examine the inside of the ship in almost microscopic detail, I have no idea what's outside. Try the sensors, and what do we get? Blank screen. Here's external telemetry. Every readout is flat. It's maddening. I actually used to punch the walls after I brought this display mode up. Just like that. The cursors jump into the red for a second before dropping back. Most of the time, I don't even know what's being measured. All I want is a reaction. Oh, it must have shaken them, the scientists and engineers and programmers. No data across eternity, nothing but the uneasy play of imagination. Well, it took a while, but I'm resigned to blindness now. Whatever's out there can't be observed from in here, at least so long as reason holds its tenuous sway. They told me it has something to do with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which I never really got. Supposedly, the only way to truly understand is to participate in the phenomenon, become one with the event itself. Well, maybe we should just stick our heads out the door, see for ourselves.
You have activated an emergency airlock.
That's right.
The ship is not currently in an emergency condition. The captain must authorize any override of security checkpoints.
Scan the ship. There is nobody else here but yours truly. So, by the power solemnly invested in me by me, I hereby authorize the override.
Ship sensors cannot detect the external environment. Your override may compromise life support.
Override.
Unable to calculate pressure differential, the airlock may sustain damage.
Override. Through the airlock. What do you say? The leap of faith.
There's no way of knowing. Dear, you're starting to burn. Come into the shade.
It's early still.
You want some lotion on your back? Maybe after breakfast we could go to the theater. I'd love to see Double Parked on Trouble Street again.
What's that noise? You hear that?
What?
Quiet! Kill the FX.
The airlock. You left the airlock activated. Again.
Oh. Where are we then?
The control room, remember?
Ah. Well then, through the airlock, what do you say? The leap of faith.
There's no way of knowing.
No, I suppose not. But not today. Tomorrow, maybe?
It's your decision.
Computer, deactivate the airlock. Sometimes I wish the screens would show Verena's ghost or burning babies on meat hooks or Jesus Christ transfigured. I could accept any of those because I don't believe that there's nothing out there. Maybe the instruments aren't sensitive enough to register the absolute, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We have to find a way to go beyond our limitations.
Absolutely.
But first, let's eat.
Will you put some clothes on? You shouldn't be walking around half naked. They'll get the wrong impression.
You see how she clings to convention? Nobody can see me.
I can.
I meant nobody real. But I love her anyway. All right, we can stop by the room on the way to the galley. I do feel a chill. Dinner is always the highlight. Stimulate the senses with food stylings and the mind with sharp wit. I allow myself 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner. I have to watch my weight. I really don't get enough exercise prowling around the ship.
That's okay. There's just more of you to love.
Since she doesn't eat, Gretchen usually tells funny stories during dinner. And my favorite one is about the whitewater canoeing course we took.
We almost drowned.
And you tried to blame me.
I told you that rock was on your left. Your left, I said.
We slammed sideways into a boulder the size of a refrigerator.
I fell overboard.
Yeah, but I didn't lose my head. I stayed with the canoe. I thrust the paddle at you.
You saved my life is what you did.
Well, I got you back in the boat at least.
You still don't know your left from your right.
Or up from down.
Or the beginning from the end. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't remember. Have I shown you my room yet? It's not as big as the project manager's, nor as high-tech as the captain's quarters. I suppose I could move, but this place has sentimental value. Besides, maybe they'll come back someday. I wouldn't want anyone to think I doubted them. I still keep Verena's clothes in the locker, and that's a picture of us.
To my true love on our 5th anniversary, we have forever, darling. To my true love on our 5th anniversary, we have forever, darling. To my true love.
Enough already. Let's see, I was 34 then, which would make her 38. We married late. And here's the bed that we never slept in. When I look at it now, I wonder how we both could have fit. We would have been at each other's throats before long. I like to stretch out at night. Why did I come in here again?
You were getting dressed?
How about this one?
Yellow isn't a good color for you.
Here's a blue. You like blue?
Too much Velcro.
Fine then, I'll just spray something on. Satisfied?
You look wonderful.
Then I'll run ahead to the galley and start dinner. I'm going to make my specialty.
Wonderful.
I hope you like meatloaf. Keep them busy for a few minutes, will you, Cleo? I'll see you all in the mess.
Wonderful. Turn off that damn music! How does he seem to you? I'm worried about him. He's been brittle lately, like a glass angel. Nothing I do makes him happy. Not like before. He was very upset at first, but at least he'd let me comfort him. When he stopped trying to remember what happened, I thought that was progress. He wanted to accept our situation, make the best of it. But month after month passed, and there was no relief. I know that depressed him. And then he started playing with time. He started swinging back and forth, skipping ahead to the bells to see if anything had changed at the end, going back to the moment he woke up alone and reliving it all again.
Please! No!
Where are you? Anyone? Anyone? Please?
I don't know what he needs anymore. I do my best to keep smiling. I tell him how wonderful he is. And it's whatever he wants in bed. Sometimes I worry he takes me for granted. It's not easy for me either. I have nightmares, you know, about them. Her, especially. The real one.
To my true love on our 5th anniversary. We have
You
forever...
bitch! There's a beautiful chef's knife in the galley. 20 centimeters long. High carbon stainless, forged in Germany. It's his favorite. Uses it for everything. He probably has it in his hand right now. In the nightmare, I'm holding his knife, prowling the halls. The handle is blood hot. When I listen at doors, I hear them breathing. I rub the flat of the blade across my lips and think of her kissing him. They all have reasons for being on board. Important things to accomplish. Why am I here? To chatter? To amuse? Any one of them could tell stories and still do something worth doing. Sleep with him. She did it. And had responsibility for water distribution and sewage treatment besides. I think she was cheating on him. I know she took him for granted.
Darling.
It would have killed him to find out. He was in love.
There.
In my dream, the knife is long and hot. I can hear her breathing. My throat feels thick. That's all.
Connie, are you still talking? I swear, there's no keeping you quiet. But come to the FX, come on. It's a special treat. I've set a picnic table on the beach.
You could have eaten in the mess. I don't mind, really.
Well, except you've always said how the mess is so depressing. All those tables and empty chairs. Those little pasta things are spätzle from Switzerland. They're great with butter. Or here, try them with gravy. And here's salad, produce fresh from the tanks. And this is the famous meatloaf, my very own culinary masterpiece. In fact, it's about the only work of art I've created since the ship warped.
Except for me.
Would you like the recipe? It's really good eating. Take this down, Janice.
Yes, dear.
Faster than light meatloaf. 500 grams ground meat, 2 grams salt, 1 gram pepper.
Slow down.
Half small onion, chopped about 50 grams. 50 grams powdered ovo binder or 1 egg beaten.
Hey, hold on a minute.
30 grams stale bread, crumbled, half green pepper chopped, about 50 grams, 200 grams creamed corn. Got all that?
What do you think?
Preheat oven to 190 degrees Celsius. Mix all ingredients, holding back half the creamed corn. Form into loaf and bake 50 minutes. Heat extra corn and pour over finished loaf. Serves 2.
Just what we need. More leftovers.
You can substitute whole corn if necessary, but then you lose the topping. Creaming the corn is well worth the extra trouble, in my opinion. You know how memories attach themselves to certain aromas? I smell creamed corn, and I'm in Grandma's dining room at Thanksgiving, and I'm a happy little kid again.
Are you done with that?
I missed creamed corn in my first marriage. Farina used to say it looked like vomit. Ground meat is, of course, rather hard to come by this side of sea. Luckily, there was an ample supply on board.
So now what?
After dinner, we usually run Sims here in the FX. Sometimes we put on one of my vids. Eve enjoys them. Or pretends to. Then we go to bed.
Why don't you show them your double parked on Trouble Street? It's so layered. Every time I watch it, I see things I'd missed before.
Truth to tell, I'm awfully sick of my old stuff. So why don't we just skip to the bells? It's an advantage I have. I don't necessarily have to stick around through the boring parts. From my inertial framework, I can clearly see that sequence is an illusion. At reasonable speeds, time's arrow appears to travel in one direction only, from the past to the future, yesterday, today, tomorrow. But I'm moving at an irrational velocity, tomorrow, yesterday.
The end.
It never ends. Has it ever ended? No. It's a loop, isn't it? I know what's going to happen. We'll just circle back to the beginning.
Maybe this time it'll be different.
You think so? Or are you just telling me what I want to hear? The bells, then.
Dear, you're starting to burn. Come into the shade.
It's early still.
You want some lotion on your back? We could play some racquetball. Get into the air conditioning. Or else we could just go to bed.
Oh, I'm not sleepy.
That's all right. Neither am I.
We make love. That shouldn't surprise you. Sex mostly happens between the ears, not between the thighs. I take pleasure from the way her lips part, the bloom on her cheeks. At the end, a moan catches for a moment in her throat. And then...
Listen.
I thought I knew every noise the ship could make, but I've never heard this before. I can tell Indira is confused, too. Computer, what's going on? What are those bells?
All internal systems are nominal. Ship sensors cannot detect the external environment.
Do you hear those bells?
Internal sensors detect no unusual sounds.
This is the end.
Yes! I can feel the blood stir within me, neurons fire on my fingertips. You don't realize what this means. After all the deadening sameness, a life-giving mystery. Let's see what's happening in the control room.
You go ahead. There's something I have to do.
Nothing here has changed. The external screens are still blank. The instrumentation must be conspiring with the computer. Where are they? Kind of reminds me of church bells, calling the faithful to service.
Hello? Hello?
Sandy?
I'm at the main airlock. You better come.
On my way.
It's not my fault. When he imagined me, he did better work than he thought. Exceeded his limitations. He needed more than a mirror. So now I love him for my own reasons. I do love him, you must understand that. It's just that we can't go on like this. He's afraid to change, because that might unblock his memory, but he wants me to change, and I have to remember.
You're the last one,
Stop this! What are you...
It wasn't just him.
Something's wrong.
They did it to one another.
God.
Some of them just disappeared.
Help!
Who knows what happened to them? But then the doctor took an overdose of Pasanol, and the captain stopped eating, and there was the murder-suicide, and soon the halls reeked of blood. At the end, he was able to pull back from the madness. He was the only one.
No!
He found a way to survive. I have to do the same.
What have you told them?
Listen.
This is the place, isn't it? The bells are ringing just outside the hull.
Do you understand what they're saying? They're calling me to become real.
I wonder if this is how the others went. Verena. They answered the call of the bells. Oh, the bells are very loud here. You can't ignore them.
I can't stay anymore. I've reached my destination.
Oh, all right. I'll admit it. I'm scared. But when she turns her face up toward me, it doesn't matter. I love her. I don't want to lose her, too.
Will you come with me? I can't live without you.
The ship seems different. The computer must have missed something. I'm sure of it. I can feel a stillness in the deck. The vibrations have stopped. And it's getting cold, as if space is breaching the seals of the airlock.
It's not space out there. It's something incredible, wonderful. That's why we have to go, to find out for ourselves. It's why they went. Maybe some of them are still out there waiting for us.
Oh, Verena? Waiting? How will I explain Maggie here to her? What would they think of one another? It's impossible.
Everything here is impossible. And yet you've created it. Make me another, a better world. I believe in your imagination.
Activate the airlock.
Ship's sensors cannot detect.
Override! Override everything.
Open the exterior hatch. I'm going. Please come, please.
Turn off that damn horn! How's a man supposed to think? Okay. So now there's only the interior hatch left. A single barrier between me and the absolute... Oh, hear that? The ship's hull is ringing like a bell.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
It's as if I no longer control my actions. The bell's deafening. Her trust rings in my head. My muscles twitch with her faith in me.
You know I love you.
But you, the rest of you out there, you've already decided what's beyond the hatch. Majority opinion wants me to pull back. Don't open the hatch. You say, don't kill yourself. But what if you're wrong? You're seeing this from a different point of view. You're still locked in the logic of space-time. String theory tells us the dimension of the observer is all important. How can you possibly hope to know what is happening outside a starship that has exceeded the speed of light? You can't hear these incredible bells. And despite everything I've said, you still don't accept my imaginary wife. Has anyone ever believed in you as much as she believes in me? Kiss me. Anne, please. Will you kiss me? Open the interior hatch!
And this is how it all began.
Where are you? Verena?
Stop this! What are you, crazy?
I told you never... There's no one left to help. Hey!
Please. No.
No! What? Something's wrong. I must have fallen out of bed. I can feel the ship's vibration in my cheekbone. It's as if the decks are ringing, except there's no sound. Verena? Verena? She's never where she's supposed to be. I look like hell. When was I crying? Oh my God, is that blood? Blood all over. Everywhere. Where are you? Anyone? Anyone? Please? Gone. All the rooms. Empty. No one in the library or the mess. The control room. Abandoned. There's an odd animal stink in the air. Like something died. Alone. I can't handle this. Talking to yourself already, not good. Not good. There has to be someone else. I need someone else or I'll go crazy!
You're not crazy.
I don't recognize her at first. She's so pale. Dazed.
Please tell me you're not crazy.
You know, I always hated it when Verena cried. She used tears as a lever to move me. I wouldn't be here if she hadn't sobbed. Now I realize if I don't help this one, she'll fall apart too.
Please.
Who are you?
I don't... Who do you want me to be?
And that's how we fall in love. It makes no sense, but there it is.
Impossible things happen, you know?
There's a kind of music to her voice, don't you think? When she talks, I hear bells.